Hi everyone, I'm Victoria Wilder and welcome to my home. Hey, so I know most of our videos have been live recently and we will be going back to doing live write-ins in 2020 in the new year. But I did want to talk to you guys and give a quick review of what 2019 was for me. And because I have a strong tendency to ramble and I didn't want this video to take an entire hour because I still have a lot to do to kind of get into planning for the new year. I am recording this on January 1st. I'll be editing it and then posting it probably by the end of today. So there's still a bunch to do, and I don't want this whole video to take an entire hour to get to you. So I just want to talk a little bit about what 2019 meant for me, how many, this was a year that wasn't easy, I guess, for anybody. There was a lot happening. There are, just things in the world right now that are just really unpleasant, and people are in pain, and people are not having the best year. But on an individual level, I actually had a pretty good 2019, and I want to mention that I'm not, making this video to, really brag or to make anyone else feel like they should compare. You should never compare your life to another person, least of all me. I think you should follow your own dreams, your own goals, and I don't think you should ever compare where you are in your journey to where someone else is in theirs. And I know that this year wasn't easy for a lot of you out there, and I just want to say that I hope that 2020 is so much better for you, that you find a lot of healing, that you find a lot of growth and joy in your life, because what is life if we're not enjoying it? What's the point if you're not happy, right? So I really hope that if you have the ability to, if you have the access to finding happiness or to taking one step at a time in your life, I do hope that you're able to do that in 2020. But this video, I do want to be very positive. So we are going to talk about 2020 in review. I will have a moment where I talk about some of my least favorite experiences, but I want us to start off on a much higher note than that last little bit. So I'm going to start with talking about my achievements for 2020. So obviously my biggest achievement was publishing my first novel, Lullaby of the Authortube. I wrote that book, I started writing that book in 2011 and finished it in 2017, and now it's here and it's real and it's here, and I talk about it all the time. I talk about it in videos that have nothing to do with my books. I still end up finding a way to talk about it because, for one thing, I spent 8 years of my life immersed in it and thinking about it and just always thinking about it. Even when I wasn't writing, even when I was trying to avoid it, it was always there in the back of my mind. It was always a part of me, and that's been kind of the case with the second book so far. I've been trying to figure out the outline for Scourge of the Lilitue, but it's there, it's in me all the time, and that's how this book was. So I'm always going to mention it. And having published it, having it just out in the world, having it physical, being able to hold it, being able to open it and read it, or have someone do one of those silly games where it's pick the first book next to you and read page 45 and the first line, and it's a possible option, it could be next to someone. So it's my favorite achievement of the year. It's absolutely I don't know, it's just, it feels really good to think about, it feels good to remember, it feels good to talk about, it feels good to know that there is more coming, and as hard as it is, because it is hard trying to write this second book, I feel like this process has felt even harder than this process. This process took a long time because I just kept putting it down, and now I'm not letting myself put it down, and the process just feels so difficult. But the story, or at least the characters, they matter to me, and I want to find a way to make it so that the plot and the story covers as deep and emotional and heart-touching topics as the first book did, and that part is really hard. But I am so proud and so happy that this series has begun, that I have this first book out, that it's in the world and you can get it, you can find it, you can go to your local library and ask them to order it for you even. It's possible to get it just pretty much anywhere you can get books. They can go to their catalog and order it for you if you want to go somewhere. So even probably a local bookstore, they can get it for you. And that's amazing to me. Another thing that I did this year in 2019 was I launched a mini course. So I have this thing called the Coven Path course that I have been working on for about 5 years now. Maybe 6 years actually. I've been working on it for a while now. And it's grown and changed and is continuing to grow and change, and the goals I have for it are pretty huge, but where it is right now is not really where I thought it would be. But I am happy that part of it is out there, because I really thought that I'd have the whole thing ready by now, that it would have been published in 2019, that was the year for it to get out. But it just didn't play out that way. But I did get the first lesson up on Udemy, because the whole course is huge. It's like a year-long course, and each lesson is like multiple modules that you should take at least a week of time with each one. If you just rush through it, you're not going to benefit from it the way you would if you actually spent time and meditated on the topics. And that's how it's structured. So it takes like at least a month for each lesson. So the first lesson is up on Udemy, and that's exciting. The second lesson is in review on Udemy, and that's exciting. And the third will be coming to Udemy soon. I'm only going to be doing those 3 on Udemy, and the entire course will be on my own website. It's easier, I guess, to track things if I do it on my own website, so I do want people to come there for the entire thing. And it's also easier for people to transition out of that course into the next phase if they choose to, which would be becoming a member of the organization, but that's a whole different thing for a whole different day. I'm just really proud and really happy that I got that first course up and that second course already in review by the end of the year. So that is another achievement that I'm very proud of, and I hope to see, I'm excited to see where it's going, and I'm excited to see how it's going to improve and grow. And just like I said, the goals I have for it are so huge that I have been hesitant to really go for it, but taking it one step at a time like this has been really helpful, and I'm very happy that I got those out in 2019. Another thing that I'm very proud to have achieved in 2019 was this book, Voices of Christmas. I did this collection with 2 other people. It's made it hasn't made back the money that it cost to make the book, actually. I've done a lot of free giveaways, so a lot of people have been able to download it, and people are able to see it on Kindle, the Kindle exclusive thing. But it's not really made a ton, and that's fine, because every time I look at it, I get happy. Every time I look at it, I feel proud, I feel happy, because not only is it gorgeous, this cover, this is the same cover artist who did Lullaby of the Authortube, but not only is it a gorgeous cover, but the stories inside are really great. The other authors that I worked with are so talented and so smart and so funny and so cool and so easy to work with. And so just being in the process of being able to make this has been enjoyable. And since it's out there, every year it can make a little bit more. Like I said, it only costs maybe I want to say $30 to make. I did the formatting myself, so that was free. We had to hire the artist for the cover, and I did some advertising. I paid for advertising for myself, but it didn't cost that much, and it only makes a few dollars each year so far. It's only been out since last year, but I am I'm very proud of it. I should say that the actual ebook was published last year in 2019, but this paperback was published this year. So that is something I'm extremely proud of. I'm extremely happy to be able to see in real time, to hold in my hands, and to share with the world. Another book I am proud of that you don't see here is called 10 Spells for the Healthy Witch. I don't have it here because the cover is kind of wonky, and I need to go in and fix that, but I'm not smart with graphics. I do my best, and it takes me a while. It's a learning curve, and I just haven't made it a priority, so I do need to go fix the cover, so it hasn't been here, but it is something that I published in October of 2019 for a special Halloween surprise, and it is 10 Spells for the Healthy Witch. Spells that I have used that help me to kind of find balance, to help me deal with anxiety, to help me deal with inner fears, to help me just feel a little bit smarter, to help me when I'm sick, all kinds of things that I've used just when I felt like it for fun at random. Some of them I have tweaked from other recipes or other spells that I have seen elsewhere that I put in my own bullet journal years ago. So it's hopefully a good resource for anyone who practices magic and wants to find health and find balance and find joy and change their mindset for the positive through magic, through the practice. Then hopefully that's a positive resource out there. Whether or not it is for you, it is for me, and I'm very proud to have brought it to the world. I can't talk about my achievements without something that I just did. Like, at the end of November, I finished writing another book. Of course, it is just the first draft, but it is the first draft of a book that I had an idea spark well over 10 years ago, like 12 years ago, actually. I think it was sometime around then. I was like 17, so that would be 13 years ago. I was like 17 or 18, and I had this idea. I wrote this one scene, and then my laptop was sadly stolen, and so I kind of lost it because I had no backups. And then the seed came back, and another idea came with that, and it became Diva, and I finished that book. So that's really exciting. It took me 2 years to write the book, so I realized that I am not the fastest writer, and I do hope that anyone out there who wants to read my stuff can understand that and trust me that I am going to get the stuff out to you. It just takes me time, it takes effort, and a lot of this year I spent a lot of time just trying to pack things on, like writing this, writing that, and like I had a blog I haven't written in a few months, and I was writing short stories, and I was trying to do group things, and all of that is so much fun and beautiful, but it wasn't balanced. I wasn't like taking time to actually refill my well. I was really just putting it all out there because writing takes so much. So I've got a new plan to really narrow down how I do things and do them one at a time, and really just take this take it, one step at a time, not try to do everything at once, not try to stack things on top of each other in 1 week and like do 3 different projects in the same like week time. I'm not doing that anymore, so hopefully that will help me get things out more efficiently and actually faster than I was before. But either way, Diva is finished, and I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud to have done that, and to have that come out to you guys in the future. That's exciting. Diva was, I mentioned how like Lullaby and Scourge, they're going to have to touch on these topics of like spirit and the meaning of love, the meaning of life, healthy families, healthy relationships. Like they get on all these things on just like what is the soul, things like that. Diva, none of that. Diva is just fun and exciting, and it's wild. I don't know if it's wild. It's pretty tame, I think, but like it's just it was really fun to write. It had nothing, like I had no messages to give. I just wanted to write this story, and that's what happened. I had nothing in my heart to like pour out. Like Lullaby of the Lilitude, these 8 years of me writing, I have gone through so much depression. I have gone through so much like self-hatred, so much pain, so many moments of just not even wanting to like continue in life. And so a lot of that went into that book. Not the case with Diva. It was just really fun. So when that gets out to you, hopefully you guys find it as fun as I did. It's going to need a lot of editing. It was, like I said, so fun to write, but it wasn't, I didn't slow down towards the end there. So I don't know if it's any good at all. When I edit it, I'm going to make it better, but I'm still very, very happy that it's been written, and I do know that after it's edited, it's going to be so much fun to read, at least as far as I know, because I wrote it, and it was so much fun to write. I also wrote 5 new songs this year. That's 10, sorry. I wrote 5 new songs this year in 2019, and that's really, really exciting. It used to take me forever to write songs. I actually wrote 5 new ones, and I finished an old one that I started like in 2012, and it was 2 different, I thought it was going to be 2 different songs that I started in 2012, and then I realized this year that they kind of work together, and if I just move some things around and add some other things, it would be a whole song. So I finished that song, and then I wrote 5 new ones. One called Dorian, which is based on Dorian Gray, which is my favorite book. I've mentioned on this channel plenty of times. So we have this song called Dorian that I really, really, really like, and I'd love to lay it down as a track soon in the future. Another one that I liked that is part of why I bought a guitar, because I think it would sound really nice with acoustic guitar if I learn how to play it. It's called Bleed, and it is a song that a lot of emotion went into. Like Dorian was kind of just like this, I don't know, like it just felt right at the time. I was thinking about Dorian Gray, and I was like trying to I think I was thinking about a story. So I was like thinking about taking Dorian Gray and just kind of gender swapping the story and seeing if I could make something out of that. And somehow it became a song instead. And that's what we got. And so Dorian is also very, very much about Rio from Lullaby of the Lilitude as well. Not entirely, but it does have some energy that I directed towards Rio and towards the Lilitude in general. So Dorian is a good one. Then I wrote this song called Bleed that I put a lot of emotion in, a lot of my heart into. There was some sadness, and it was really a lot. I don't want to get into what it was about. Maybe someday I will. But there was a lot in the news about a specific topic that really just kind of was breaking my heart. Every time I had to see it, it just kind of brought back certain memories for me. And so Bleed just kind of bled out. So I wrote Bleed, and then I wrote a song called Eight of Swords, which I kind of like. I do feel like it could use some trimming in one part, but I really do like it, and it is kind of just this symbolic kind of abstract song. I mean, the structure of it, because I'm super basic, is super basic. It's like chorus, verse, chorus, bridge, etc. That's how like all my songs are. And then I figure I can go in later when you lay them down as a track and move things around and like add things to make it less basic. But pretty much all my songs, when I write them down, super basic. So the lyrics are abstract, but the actual structure of it isn't. And it's about the tarot, essentially. It's about divination. It's about the messages that come through the tarot, and I feel like it was something that I was just kind of channeling at the time that came out, and I like it. It makes me feel good. It sticks in my head. It's very much an earworm for me. Your mileage may vary, but I like it, so I did write that. Let's see, we said Dorian, Bleed, Eight of Swords. Oh, I also wrote a song called Thank God It's Daily, which is my more spiritual side, and it's kind of a gospel-y song that is more, it's like it's not a chant, but it is kind of repetitive and gospel-y, and it's, I can't say what hasn't been said, but I thank God it's daily, and it's like a whole song that I do sometimes in groups when we do music circles. So I did write that. I think that was this year. I might have written it last year, but I feel like I wrote it this year. I don't know. That one is a maybe. I did write a song also called Sirens in New York, and that is a very it's different. It's not like my basic songs. It is this kind of lengthy, like long notes, very old jazz, very Ella Fitzgerald, or not Frank Sinatra, like slower. Like it's just this kind of slow vibe about sirens in New York, and it's like, it's very it's old jazzy, I think, the way I hear it. So I wrote that, and then the one that I finished was called Belladonna. So lots of songs this year, and that's exciting because I don't usually have a year where I write that many songs all in the same 12 months. I don't write poetry or music as often as I used to, and having been able to do that and being so excited about these songs, and like they are so different by leaps and bounds. Even though they're all still pretty basic, they're so different from the songs I used to write like 10 years ago. Like I like them. I like them a lot. And I do like my old songs. I do. But I also know that many of them are like really kind of folksy and like kind of weird and like they didn't stick in my head as much. Like I like them and I knew them. But these other songs, like if I think, like I have the first line of Eight of Swords just like running through my brain right now as I'm talking. And that didn't really happen with my older songs so much. They would stick in my head until they were written, and then they kind of like immediately faded away, and I had to record them so that I could actually hear what they sound like in the future when I want to re-look at them or try to edit them or do something like that. So that's a pretty big deal for me. I'm really happy about that, and I can't wait to see where these songs go as well. Another big achievement, well, I guess it was sort of an achievement. I had planned on ending this year, or ending 2019, by not being a nanny. I have been a nanny for about 6 years, and then or like 5.5-ish, and I kind of wanted to move forward with my writing business and focus more on my other goals. And I love the family that I worked with, so I did spend, I think, a little bit more time focusing on them and their goals than my own. And so that was something I just kind of wanted to shift out of. And it happened a little bit sooner than I'd intended personally, but it happened, and I'm very happy it did because it was necessary and it was like where I was wanting to go. I do miss them, and I miss the income, obviously, because there has been a drastic shift in my income. And I will explain a little bit more why that is in a minute. But yeah, that job came to an end, and I do consider that an achievement, because it was a plan, it was a goal that I had set for myself. It happened, and I am now doing the things that I said I would do once that happened. So I am spending more time writing, I'm spending more time planning and setting goals and actually trying to make steps towards creating this future that I see for myself. So those are some of my biggest achievements of 2019. And I know this video has been going on a little bit longer than I thought it was going to, because again, I ramble. Hello, this is what your girl does. So at this point, you're probably getting this video tomorrow, because if it is a very long video, I need to do other stuff. And so I will be editing it probably tonight and posting it Thursday on January 2nd. Sorry guys, I love you, but I do want to spend more time taking care of myself and taking care of my bigger goals, and YouTube is a hobby, so I have that's the thing I did this year, was like I kind of put it over a lot of things, where YouTube was my focus, not just this channel, but also my tarot channel, where it was like the main thing that I did throughout the week. I did videos at the beginning of the year. I was doing videos like 3 days a week minimum, and that became like just so much, and it helped me in a lot of ways, because I was able to meditate regularly and share things and grow my practice and grow my understanding of the cards and like grow my intuition. But it also kept me from writing a lot and doing a lot of things that I could have been doing towards these other goals, these bigger goals that are more career orientated, that are more for my future, for my life. So yeah, you're probably gonna get this video tomorrow. Do you hear my cat snoring? She's so cute. Now I want to talk about some of my favorite experiences of 2019, and I'll try to keep it shorter than the whole achievement parts. I've already been recording for about 25 minutes at this point, and I don't want this video to be super long, Obviously, one of my favorite experiences was publishing, specifically release day of Lullaby of the Lilith. My launch day was also my birthday. I turned 30 this year, and I had this party, and so many people came out, and I was like, there are pictures, and some people I don't even remember who they were. They were people I probably met and was just like, come through, join the party. And so like, there were just so many people, and it's like the biggest birthday party I have had since I was like 15 years old. And it was just, there was cake, and there was food, and there were like gluten-free vegan cupcakes, and they're like, that's good. And there was just so much, and I gave away copies of my book, and I talked about it, and it was a beautiful day, and it was my favorite experience by far of the entire year. It was just being able to publish my book and share it with so many people. Like, wow. And like, I mean, I generally have very quiet birthdays. I will either go out and have a ball, or go to a bar, or like one year I did board games with just a few friends. Like, I generally don't do big birthday parties. I try to celebrate the whole month, so I don't really need to do that. I have fun like all of May. I don't know, it was just really good. It was a great experience. Another experience I really enjoyed was our trip to the UK. So we spent 2 weeks in the UK, 1 week in Glasgow, Scotland, and the other week just outside of London in this little suburb, which was really cute, in this like eco house that was adorable. It did have like a problem with silverworms, like earwigs or whatever they are, and it freaked us out so much. Like, there was some tension there the whole time. But the place was beautiful, and the town was beautiful, and the people were so nice, and London was awesome. Like, London was just great. It was so much fun. We went to the Edinburgh Festival. I don't remember what it was called now. It might have just been called Edinburgh Fest. But we went there we stayed in Glasgow, but we took our last couple of nights there, and we like missed our train to get home, so we walked all over Edinburgh until 4 in the morning. We were just walking all over the town and like seeing things and like walking through the empty festival grounds, and it was just so much fun. And just like I wasn't super happy to be having to walk around in these uncomfortable shoes that I had, in a dress, in a city I've never been to at 4 in the morning. That was kind of scary, but also like looking back, it was such a interesting experience, and such a we learned things, and we did have fun. Like it wasn't always like scary. It was really a lot of fun. We saw so many things. It wasn't like, the scariest part was probably when we were walking through a park, because I live in New York, and walking through a park at 3 in the morning probably isn't the smartest thing to do. But the park itself was so peaceful and so quiet, and we saw like 2 other people, and they didn't do anything, and it was great. It was beautiful, and like I really, really considered moving to Scotland because of that. So that was really one of my favorite experiences this year. Another thing I really enjoyed was BookCon. I got to go to BookCon for the first time. That's so exciting. I do hope to come back at some point with my own books, but just going as a visitor, going as a guest is so much fun and so exciting and so easy. There's like no pressure. You can just do whatever you want. I mean, you have to plan, obviously, because they have like panels, and like if you want to get autographs, if you want to buy books from specific people that are signed, then you have to know the time and know the schedule. But that's up to you. It's your choice what you want to do, what you don't want to do. You could just walk around buying books. You could just walk around seeing things, talking to people. That's mostly what I did. I did get in a line to meet Karen Parsons, because she's amazing. Karen Parsons, if you don't know, played Cousin Hillary on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I grew up watching that show, and so being able to see her in person, like every time I think about it, I kind of want to cry, because she was just so nice, and her entire energy was like light. Like she just felt so positive to be around, and so that's wonderful. I was a nerd, obviously, because I don't know how to talk to people in person, because I'm a nerd. She was so nice about it. She was so nice about me being kind of hard, like unable to speak. And now I follow her on Instagram, and she's amazing. So that was a really, really good experience. And I got this shirt, Magic on Every Page, which I think is really on brand for me. My brand is a mixture of books and magic, of witchcraft and reading, of literature and Lilith. I don't know. Magic. Literature and Lilith. So this was a really good experience. I got this cool shirt. I got so many cool souvenirs. I have so many books that I still haven't even like gotten halfway through. I read one of the books that I got from BookCon, and I was very I wasn't the happiest about it. That's fine. It just wasn't for me. I'm pretty sure the rest of the books that I got are going to be pretty good. I got some old books, some very new books, some things that just looked cool because they were free that I took. So it is, like, I get to read. I get to read new things, and that's exciting. And that is partially thanks to BookCon, and I definitely am planning to be there next year. Another experience I really enjoyed in 2019 was podcasting. We've been on a very long hiatus, and I do hope that we come back, because it was just fun and interesting, and it was a lot of work, especially because we tried to do a blog with it. And if any of my old podcast friends are watching, I'm not that much of a fan of the whole written blog part, because I don't want to do it. But the podcasting, we should do that again, because it was fun. It was such a great experience. We learned so much from each other. We were able to offer information to each other and learn, see our own knowledge gaps. There were so many inspiring moments, like just being able to work with other writers and feel proud of them and enjoy their work and hear about their methods and hear about, their style of writing and what brought them to this world. And we're all so diverse, different people. So like just being able to experience that was something that I will always cherish, regardless of whether or not we continue our podcast or whether or not I end up doing my own things, or we end up doing something entirely different but inspired from it. Whatever happens, it was such a great experience. Another thing I did this year was I learned how to create a business plan. I went to the New York Public Library, where they had a business planning seminar course over 4 months. So they had like 2 classes a month over 4 months, and you had to attend them. And I I did not complete the step after the classes, which was to turn your business plan into the judges and then let them judge you, and then it's a competition. But I did take all the classes and I learned a lot. I figured out a lot about what I want to do for my own businesses. The reason I didn't continue it is just because it would have the business plan that I was working on would have actually taken a lot more focus and a lot more energy from what I'm already doing and what I've actually want to do. It would have been something that if like I was guaranteed to have a team help me with, I would be better doing, but doing it on my own would have really, really taken away my focus from my writing and from my maiden circle, my pagan work, and I didn't want to do that. So I didn't go through all the way with giving them my business plan, but I did take every class that they offered, and I learned so much, and I did create a pretty cool business plan for that one idea, and I was able to learn and use that for my current idea, which is what I've been using actually to help me plan 2020 with what I want to do with my writing. So that's really cool. I was able to take that class and learned so much, and it was free. It wasn't like it didn't cost anything. It was free at the Brooklyn Public Library. They offer classes like this all the time. So if you are in New York or Brooklyn specifically, I know they offer it at the Grand Army Plaza Library at Central. It's amazing. It's free classes and you learn so freaking much, and it's these experts just coming here trying to help you out. So that's cool. I'm really, really happy that I heard about that I was able to participate in that. I don't even remember how it came to me. I think it was just like a random email newsletter from the library, and I immediately signed up, and I'm so, so glad I did. And lastly, one of my favorite experiences this year was more of a mindset shift. I have always had issues with the way I view money, and I will be talking more about that in another video that I'm planning to do. That's going to take a while to do, but I've always just had a sort of fear of money, a fear of being able to be abundant, of bringing in prosperity. I would always self-sabotage whenever that possibility came up, because having money meant a number of other things that were unpleasant, that made me uncomfortable, that made me feel bad, that made me feel pressured, that brought back a lot of negative memories. So like my relationship with money has never been healthy. I was not taught to have a healthy relationship, and a huge part of that is the family I come from, and I love my family, but they don't have healthy relationships with money, so I never did. 2019 was the year that I really, really started fixing that, really started paying attention to how I was spending, paying attention to how I was saving, paying attention to my feelings about money, like trying to really change my mindset. I've been listening to a lot of affirmations to make myself a lot more positive towards it, because at the end of the day, money allows me to do things like go to the UK. Money allows me to publish my book, to copyright my work. Money allows me to eat and to have a home and to survive. It is not evil. It is not something that I have to be so uncomfortable about. And that's a lesson I've had to learn this year. And I'm very, very, very happy to have gone through this mindset change, because now I'm seeing the shifts in my life reflect that mindset change. And so now I'm even more aware of how I'm thinking about generally everything, not just money, but generally everything positive in my life. I try to think of it in a very different way, because now I've just changed the way I think of abundance in general. So that is something that I'm very, very grateful to have experienced this year and to continue experiencing into the next year, because this is an ongoing journey for me. I am not cured of all of my money problems at all. It is something that I'm still working on and still building and still trying to understand and like just break through, and also help other people break out of or break through, like especially my family members, so that we can all kind of rise up in 2020. So I'm really, really happy to have started this journey. This video is getting so long, I might as well have done it live. I'm pretty sure it's going to end up an hour long anyway. I hope not. God, I hope not. We'll see. So now I gave you some of my biggest achievements this year and some of my favorite experiences. I do have to say that, like I said, this year wasn't easy, and I did have some tough experiences. And my least favorite experiences are a much smaller list, because I didn't want to dwell on every bad thing that happened. I've had some bad moments. I've had some sad moments. I've had some upset, angry moments. I've had some pain. I've had some depression. You know, it has been a year of ups and downs, but I don't want to focus on all the downs, because they weren't like, I don't remember all of them. Many of them, if I like try to force myself to remember them, then I'm not I'm defeating the purpose of letting myself heal, you know, like those happened and it's time to let those go. But there are some things that stick and that aren't going to go. So some of my least favorite experiences this year by far were the deaths of two of my friends. One of them was younger than me, and we went to high school together, and he was a friend, he was family, he was like a brother, and he was a love, and he was like, we had lost touch over the last couple of years, but he was important, he was special, and he was always someone that I saw as special, as to be loved, as like just this sweet, good boy. And his family was nice, and I liked them a lot. I still like them. And he was just a good person to me in my experiences with him. He was a twisted person. He was very dark and kind of emo and a little bit creepy and weird, and that was perfect for me. And his death was really sudden and really surprising and really sad, really heartbreaking. It's something, and I guess because of what I know about it, it's something I think of pretty regularly because it could happen to anyone at any time, well, just about any time. And so that's really heartbreaking. That was really a terrible experience, obviously for me, but for the family. It's just sad all around, you know? So my least favorite moment of 2019. And another one was my ex-fiance, who, God, we had so many years of stuff, and like, it wasn't always positive, but it wasn't always negative either. He was a good person. He had a lot of issues, a lot of demons, a lot of heartbreak inside of himself, a lot of pain and anger. But he was a good, loving person, and he did a lot for other people, and he wanted to see other people smile, and he wanted good things, and he had so many dreams and so many hopes. And like, that one hit me really hard because of the way it happened too, and because of like just how entangled he was in my life. I met him in high school as well. He was out of high school. He was older than me, but I met him in my junior year, and he was just special to me. He was always special to me, and always someone that I knew I would just love eternally. Like, whether we ever spoke again, and I mean, we spoke a couple times a year, but like, I just always knew I would love him forever and ever and ever. And then he was gone. So, sorry, that was a hard moment. That is still a hard moment. It's only been a few months, you know. Like, he died in September, and it was just so freaking sudden. I probably should have saved that for last, because now, like, I'm a little sad. But, some other least favorite moments of 2019, like, those were the really my least favorite. But, another moment I had was after our vacation. I pretty much had depleted my accounts. I had saved up all year long for that vacation. I'd saved up since the last summer for that vacation, and then all of it went to the vacation, and I had no other savings. And so when we got to this point where my job ended and I still hadn't recouped that savings because I was still catching up on other stuff, I had nothing to fall back on. And that was kind of a really low moment for me. That job ended in November, so this is all still pretty fresh, but it was a really low moment for me, and it left me kind of feeling depressed for a while, for a few weeks anyway, and I'm still kind of working my way out of that. Like, that came like so soon after my ex-fiance's death, after B's death, and it was just like a lot of things happening in my personal life as well. And so just realizing that I had nothing to fall back on kind of brought up a lot of those issues with money. Made me a lot more aware too of certain things, but like, it was kind of a low moment and it didn't feel good. So hopefully that never happens in 2020. Like, with the steps I'm taking, I don't want that to ever be a problem again. I don't want to ever have to be in this position again, because I've been in it before and I'm sick of it. And another low or unpleasant moment was, or it happened actually a couple of times, dental work this year. So that is a little bit lighter than the other ones. It's not so like personal, but like I did get some teeth pulled this year, and that was so painful. And like I spent like it just, I hated it. I don't love it. I don't like going to the dentist, obviously. If I needed some teeth pulled, I'm obviously not a great dental patient, but like, it hurt. My face was all swollen. I cried a bunch. But like it wasn't like a healthy adult crying. It was like a baby crying. Like it was stupid. So I don't want that to happen again. And those are my least favorite moments of the year. I only wanted to give you guys a few of them because that can be kind of a downer. I did make myself pretty sad there. That's just natural. Grief is going to happen. It's going to pop up when you least expect it, so that's fine. Moving on to something a little bit brighter, I do want to talk about the people who inspired me in 2019, because I would not be able to heal things, I think, if I didn't have someone showing me that it was possible. I spent a lot of years seeing people not heal their issues, seeing people become more defensive or more angry or dig deeper into their issues than actually face them and try to heal them. And I've never understood that, not even since I was like a child. I've always been like, why are you consistently putting yourself in these positions when you don't have to? Why are you doing this to your health when you don't have to? I've always asked these questions. I've always asked why. And so I've always looked to or looked for people who were showing me that it was possible to not live a certain way. Sirens in New York. Exactly why that song was written. So I do want to talk about some of the people who've inspired me most in 2019, specifically for my writing, but also just in general for my life. But for my writing, I was most inspired by Joanna Penn, or JF Penn. She is an indie author who has been running her own author business for 10 years now. She's a speaker, she's a teacher, she's a podcaster, she is a writer, and I love her so much. Her voice is so soothing, first of all. Like, it's a very shallow reason to love someone, but it's really soothing. Listening to her talk is just like, it's calming and it's inspiring. And every time I listen to her podcast, it's like, yes, that is the path I want to take. Not exactly. There are some things that obviously are just for her and some things that are going to be just for me and my path, because everyone's path is different. But the majority of what she's done with her life is like almost pretty much what I want to do with my writing business. So she's super inspiring because she lets you know that it is possible. She lets me see that it is doable. It takes time. This is not something you just rush through. It is not a race. It is not a run. It is not a marathon. It is a journey. And she shares almost every aspect of her journey, and I love that so much, and I respect it so much. And she's actually a pretty good writer. I've read some of her stuff. I've read part of her fiction, but then I was like in the middle of reading another book, and I was like, I can't read 2 books at once, and I've already started this other book. So I will be going back to her fiction, but I've read quite a few of her nonfiction books, her books for writers, and they are so helpful, and like, it sounds like her. It sounds like her talking, and that's really, really just, I don't know, it feels good, feels authentic, and I love her. I've also been just really inspired by the writing community as a whole on like Facebook and Twitter, and like just seeing how people like interact and talk to each other and support each other and share with each other. It's just been really inspiring this year, last year, the year before, since I discovered the writing community online as a resource. It has been inspiring. It has felt good to be a part of it. It keeps me motivated, and it allows me to help other people stay motivated as well, which in turn adds to my motivation. And so it's this like endless cycle of just being inspired and being motivated and wanting to do your best. Like I said earlier, you shouldn't compare yourself, because that makes it difficult, and there is a lot of comparison in the writing community. But if you don't do that, it's really, really great and really supportive and really inspiring. And I love that. And if also you're like, there are some jerks in every community, so, you know, don't pay attention to them. Just focus on the people who inspire you, because I found some really cool friends. I'm in this group where I found these 2 authors called Voices of Color. It's just great. It's comfortable. It feels good. It's a place that's very inclusive, very open, and like so supportive. So I love the writing community, and they have very, very, very much inspired me this year to just keep writing. Along with the writing community, I should say my friends, my personal community of pagan friends, the people that I meet with once a month, and we do full moon rituals, and we do crafts, and we enjoy movies together, and we talk, and we just just hang out, and it's always so positive and so healing and so beautiful. So having those people in my life has been extremely inspiring. I've always had at least one really good friend in my life, usually like 2 or 3. I've never had like a huge group of friends, and having those few people in my circle that I see regularly, that I can spend time with, that just are so healing and so positive, and they're doing their own things, especially the goal-oriented friends, the people who have dreams, who want more than what they may have now for the better, who want to heal, who aren't doing it out of greed, but who are doing it because they know that we all deserve abundance, and if everyone is happy, if everyone is lifted up, then the whole world can be lifted up, right? So people who believe that and who are working towards that and who have beliefs for the future and hopes for the future, my friends, you are so inspiring. I love you so much. I love your support, and I love just watching you blossom, watching you bloom. I'll name a couple because these people have really, really inspired me. There's my friend Ella and my friend Ash. Like, just together, the things that they're doing in their life is so inspiring and so beautiful. And sometimes I feel like, they're younger than me, so I feel like I should be doing more in my life, and they're doing all these things. But at the end of the day, I'm just so proud of them and so like inspired and in awe of everything that they managed to do. And then there's also this friend who I'm not super close to, but like I see her on Facebook, and she is she's kicking butt, she is really, really ruling. Shayna Douglas, she is an actress that I've worked with a couple of times. Like I said, we aren't super close, but I value her and like her strive, her hustle, her drive, her moving forward, her spirit, her soul, her openness, her love, her honesty. Like, just seeing her is so inspiring, and it makes me want to be a better me, and it makes me want to see more people see her, It makes me want to like share her with the whole world, because she's just really like, she is on it, and I'm so proud of her. And I don't have a right to be, because like I said, I don't even know her that well, but I am so very proud of the work that I've seen her do over the last year. She is just really, really inspiring. And last but not least, I am inspired by Johnny Depp as usual. I don't, speak of him all the time, but he inspires me every day. I don't know how, he just does. Ever since I was a baby, thinking about Johnny Depp makes me happy. It's my joy. It's my sunshine room. And the things that he's done in the last year, the things he's overcome, the things he's survived and moved through, and just shown that no matter what, like how down he's been, how dark things have been for him, he's always been this positive, loving, open, caring person. He's always been a giving person. Anyone who's ever met him will tell you that he is kind and loving and generous and open and gentle and just so many beautiful things. And I strive to be that kind of person, because I can be a kind of harsh person. I am a very much tough love person, where it's like, if I don't understand why you're doing something, then I'm going to speak on that. If I think you're doing something that's hurtful or harmful to yourself, I'm going to speak on that. And sometimes I might get a little loud, but that gentle energy is something I've always kind of wanted to cultivate within myself, because it's healing for myself, but it also helps other people who are a lot less sturdy than I am, who have a lot more sensitivities, and don't really speak up for them, so they kind of eat at them. I want to try to be gentle for those people. And so his energy really inspires me to like try to remember that, and remember to be gentle, and remember to be kind. So that's a beautiful thing, and it's something I'm very happy to have always aspired to, and have always had him to look up to for that. And finally, I want to talk about my hopes for the future, because there are so many. I have been here for so long. We've been talking for about 53 minutes and 33 seconds, and my neck hurts and my eyes hurt because I've got lights glaring at me. These are the things I do for a hobby. Imagine what I do for my career. Wow, amazing. Wow, amazing. Actually, scratch that, because if I'm doing this for a hobby, I'm probably not putting as much energy in the other thing, which we're going to change. My hopes and dreams for 2020, for the future, are to publish at least one more novel this year in 2020, as well as another book that's a wild card. So it could be a nonfiction book, it could be another collection, it could be another poetry book, it could be another novel if I'm able to. But I do want to publish at least one novel this year, one novel each year, plus one other book each year. So 2 books a year seems like a steady pace for me if I can, just focus and spend less time on my hobbies. I also want to be able to travel more without hurting myself financially, so I do have a few side hustles out there to help add to whatever my books bring in, or whatever, like any other things I do bring in, my editing, my Teespring shop where you can buy t-shirts and bags and stickers and all kinds of fun stuff, my Etsy shop where you can get tarot readings, and you can also buy my personal oracle card deck that I made. So I do have a couple of things out there, and I'm hoping in 2020 these things all pick up so that I can be more financially stable, more financially healthy, more financially wise, and so that I can eventually help other people, because another hope that I have for the future is to hire an assistant or something. And I don't want to hire anyone if I can't afford to give them at least $1,000 a month, because I feel like that's the bare minimum you need to live in New York. And so I do want to be able to pay someone that so that they don't have to find another job, so that they don't have to struggle or worry. And I do, like I said, I did love my job, but I do realize that financially I was giving them way more than I was being paid for. And I was struggling. I had to take up another job multiple times, but I was like giving them all of my time. I was giving them 4 days out of my week, and that's my week because no other job, like it was in the middle of the day at these weird hours, so there was no other job I could do around those hours. I had to give all my time to them, and I was being paid hardly enough to live, hardly enough to survive, and I always had to have another job. And I don't want to put anyone in that position when I'm hiring people, so I do want to be able to afford to be more financially stable, to pay people a living wage each month, and to be able to go on at least one trip a year, because I think travel is so important. It helps you understand the world. It helps you understand other people. It helps you break free from your little bubble. And I am one who needs to break free because I exist in my bubble. I'm such a hermit. I don't go outside unless I'm being paid or I absolutely have to, or it's something I'm really excited about. I generally don't go outside, and so I need to at least see something else and see another country and learn new things and learn about other people outside of my circle. So that leads to my next hope, which is to make a living running my businesses. And that's it. Like, I want to I do the work. I spend, at least 6 hours a day, 4 to 5 days a week working on my goals, working on these businesses. So I figure it should pay off. It should keep me alive. It should help me eat. And I wish that wasn't the case. I wish everyone just had immediate access to food and to a home and to shelter and health. Sadly, in the world's richest country, that's not the case. But I would like that to be the case for me. And I believe it's a possibility. I believe I exist in this world with all of the resources necessary to be able to support myself, support my family, and support my life with these multiple businesses that I am running. Another hope I have is to be able to find a very good editor for Scourge of the Lilith, hopefully someone that I can take with me into the next 2 books after that as well, because I would really like to work with someone and build an ongoing relationship, someone that I can trust with my work, because my experience with an editor for Lullaby of the Lilith wasn't pleasant, and I have a video on that you'll find in my channel, and I'll link below if you'd like. But it just wasn't a pleasant experience. It wasn't fun. I learned a lot, but I do want someone that I feel like I can trust and who will honor my work and who I can believe read my work, because that was an issue. It didn't feel like the editor read my actual book. It felt like she ran it through a program and then went back and read pieces to see what would work and what wouldn't, but didn't actually see the whole piece. It's even possible that maybe she hired someone else to do it, or had multiple people do it, because there were things that were noted in one part, but then later there were questions of when did this happen, and it's you noted that this happened, so do you have 2 different editors? Whatever. I hope this year to find an editor that I can trust, and that will be a nice long-term process for me. So hopefully find a good editor that I can work with in ongoing projects. I'd also like to, and this is really, really a cheesy goal for me, and it has nothing to do with writing, but I would like to find love, or to experience love in the way that I feel I deserve to experience it. and find the right people who understand it in that way as well. Because a lot of people I meet have these very specific ideas of what love is. And so I'm kind of looking for someone who shares a similar idea to mine. I want love in its truest form. I want pure love. I want it to be open and honest and kind, and I want it to be considerate. I want it to be love where we listen to each other and where the conversation flows easily. And that doesn't have to just be romantic love. I want it with my friends. I want it with even my family. I want them to be open to that possibility. And that means, questioning ourselves as well and our beliefs about things, because I feel like love has to be internal to become more external, and I feel like just ignoring our own shadow doesn't help with that. But that's something I want to talk about with the right people who come into my life, and that's something I want to theorize about and philosophize over, like food and wine, with friends in the next year. So that is a goal. That is something I'm really, really hoping for. I also have some very private hopes that I'm very excited for, but I just am not ready to speak on them just yet, and I will when they start to come through. There's some pretty cool things that are happening that I'm hoping for, that I'm looking forward to, that I'm just very excited for and expecting even. So I'll get back to you on what those are. That is 2019 in review. You may have just heard my stomach growl. I am hungry. I have been sitting here for 1 hour, 1 minute, and 50 seconds. That's a long time, buddy. So I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you so much for being here. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what your goals, your hopes, your fears, your experiences. Just let me know all about 2019. If you don't want to put it all in the comments, then write me a letter, write me a message, send me an email, whatever. I want to hear from you. Thank you so much for being here. Happy New Year. I hope 2020 brings you all of the most beautiful, amazing, and wonderful experiences that you could ever possibly want. I hope it brings you healing and love and friendship and productivity and joy and so many more beautiful things. Thank you again. I will see you next week. We'll probably be doing a write-in, and I will probably be talking about my next book. I'll see you then. Remember always that I love you. Bye!